a bit tired, but okay. Tired because there is a lot of work going on, but it's a good thing. So
Right. That's what's always been interesting. Like the more tired we are, the better, because it also means like that means that there's work to do. But at the same time, it's like Jesus Christ, like can I breathe a little bit?
yeah, I mean here is like really crazy because of COVID and those things. But I think from today we need to wear like masks outside.
Yeah, yeah, we're wearing masks as well.
Yeah, I mean we are, but not really all the time outside.
Mandatory and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, basically the government fucked us because they were lying about the numbers, and they organized the election. They let the football games be played and all kind of things. And now there were demonstrations for 4 days.
Wow.
So people got really pissed. So probably a large number of them also now got COVID.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, crazy times.
Yeah, it's like when it was in the States, and like they put everybody in quarantine for like 3 months, right, or whatever it was, and then the Black Lives Matter movement started happening, and people were protesting and rioting. And it's like I totally get why you're protesting, and like sometimes protesting goes over like health, but like that kind of messes up everything that we've been trying to do for the last 3 months, which is fine on that side. Like I'm not saying they should not have protested, but it's definitely like.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's the moment when people get in the mood like it's about time we fuck this motherfucker. Like, you know, he was lying for us for like we were quarantined and we remained inside.
Yeah.
We listened to everything, and then like I mean the second wave, let's call it like that, started.
Yeah.
When they gathered around 200 people in Belgrade to celebrate the win on the elections.
Wow. Yeah.
Basically, 8 out of 10 of the main politicians of the leading party got COVID.
Wow, for real?
And in 3 days, they're all healthy. We can continue.
Yeah, man, it's just insane, dude. Like the last 4 or 5 months have been so surreal. Like sometimes now it's kind of become like the normal thing, but like if you ever stop and think about it, like how the world has changed, it just kind of blows your mind. Right? Like literally the life across the world has changed 180 degrees from what we were doing in January or February.
Yeah, I mean, clients are still calling me like, man, we want to come to your office, or you can come to our office.
Right.
It's good that I'm telling them, okay, you are probably in Belgrade. I'm not in Belgrade.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is something that we can do online over the call, video call, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a waste of money and time if we don't know are we a good fit or not.
Exactly. I was talking today in the podcast with a business owner that his company is like one of the main companies in helping Americans go to Italy and France and do like tours. So tour guides, like they were one of the first few companies that instead of like you getting paid cash in front of like the Coliseum, for example, you could book the tour online and do e-commerce and all that. And like for them, it has obviously blown up the business. Like he was telling me about how from March of this year to March of 2021, they expect to generate barely $0 in revenue. You know, like how crazy it is that he was telling me that they hired 15 people in December because they were expecting to double the growth in 2020, right? And like they needed to like build the processes and systems before the customers came, so they were paying them to be ready for doubling the growth. The company is like 20 people, and then they hire like this 15 more, and then this shit happened. So we're like, we not only just had increased our overhead by like 100%, but now we get zero revenue for 12 months. So it's going to be tough for them to recover.
It's tough things. Yeah, I talked yesterday with a guy also in tourism, because I'm organizing the kayaking small tour here in Novi Sad, and he's the guy who is renting the kayaks and organizing everything. And I mean, it's bad. I mean, even like now he told me that it's like funny, because he is working in tourism and he is encouraging people to not go anywhere.
Right.
Even if they feel like they have to, then like not to book anything, just to cross the border, and then to call him to book them some suites, apartments, or whatever. Like crazy.
Yeah, it's just tough. It's tough. What we've seen in Spain, because Spanish people love to like go out to eat and drink and all that. So what we've seen is that people, instead of like traveling to other countries, they're traveling inside the country much more.
Yeah, same here.
So people are still spending and consuming. They're just doing it internally. And like in my city, which in the summer, like it's super crazy. We have a lot of tourists. And it's always packed. It's like on a beach town, 30 minutes south of Barcelona. Like the other day we went out, and it's still packed. It's just people from here. Like for the first time, instead of us going to like London or whatever, and then Londoners coming here, it's just people from here consuming here.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with that is that a lot of these people, they're now in, I think it's called furlough, when like the government pays you like 70% of your salary, and I don't know how long that will be able to last. Like some of my friends are making more money now than when they're working.
Yeah, here we have like government was giving away some like 3 months, and but the employers who accept it need to keep the people employed for like, I don't know, 6 months overall.
Yeah.
So in September, October, I expect a total collapse of everything.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. Because the problem with these people is like, I was telling them the other day, like right now is not the time to like spend the money. Like you need to save up a little bit, because like you're going to get fired in like November, December, just so you know. Like a lot of you guys are going to. And you guys are spending here freely when like the situation's not, financially we're not at rock bottom. We're going to be, but we're not there yet. But people in Spain don't have that mindset of like, hey, let me start a business, or hey, let me
people
save
don't
up
have
some money.
mindset anywhere. Maybe in US, I don't know about the East, but basically people don't have that mindset. I was just reading the article from a client to be, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing an interview for the state media, and one thing he says is like economy is suffering because people are buying only what they need.
Right.
And it's so true.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I think that's probably still better than buying more than you need right now, and then in 3 months the government's like, we don't have any more money, and then the job fires you. The only good thing about Spain is that people have a very strong family connection, so they always are able to rely on like their parents or grandparents or something in the family for food and shelter, and a place to stay. Otherwise, our country will be so fucked. But we always can come back home.
I mean, I still bought Dark Knight Batman today, so
yeah.
I'm buying what I don't need.
Yeah, I bought some stuff from Fashion Nova, the company that Instagram influencers promote. They've done great marketing. Honestly, I was trying to like buy some clothes, and I was like, the only place I know, like it was not like general clothes, like a very specific thing. And it was interesting because they were really top of mind in terms of like that young hip culture, all from Instagram shoutouts and all that stuff. They have built great Instagram influencer network over there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they've killed it on the D2C space. Sometimes it's interesting to see what D2C companies are doing. So it seems like there's better marketing in D2C than B2B. Have you ever thought like that as well?
Yeah, they are more free to do some things, and I think that's where the creativity sparks.
Right, but what are B2B marketers afraid of? Because I think, like, I understand these larger companies with like a lot of investors and all that. But like, if you run an agency that's bootstrapped and it's your money, and like you're free to like do marketing the way you see fit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why we're all afraid in B2B of marketing.
Look, I think they are all going. Most of the marketers in B2B, even the owners, whatever it is, they're choosing the easy road, and
right.
like outbound is the easy road,
right?
Because you are going generic. You're not building relationships. You're not going to personalize contacts, and you're going generic. And it's easy. You just send an outreach mail and you wait.
Right.
And so a lot of them don't actually know details about their customers. They don't know who their ideal buyers are. I mean, even if they do, they don't know specifics. They don't know if they are targeting like the CEO who is decision maker, or they are targeting people who are influencing decision makers.
Right.
Or I don't know. There is a case in which they can target somebody who is buying their product as a gift.
Right.
There are many variables of that, and I mean, everything is out there. You just need to go search or just go ahead with different kind of content to see who's reacting if you don't know it.
Right.
And you will see who fits in the whole metric that you have. And that's one thing. Other thing is that they don't talk directly with people.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they do, but there's the whole this mystery still present. Like in B2C is like people are reacting. You're selling directly to that person who is reacting to your post. And in B2B is a bit different.
Yeah, I think there's also a lack of overall creativity, and I don't know if it's because it's free. I don't know if it's because the best marketers go to D2C instead. But it does seem like there's more talent in D2C, in my experience, from what I've seen.
Definitely, because B2B didn't attract talented and creative people because they were so stiff and they were focused only on promoting their own products, own services. And, when you are just talking about yourself, there isn't much space for creativity.
Yeah. And what I've seen is that if you're a decent marketer in B2B, you're probably better than like 95% of marketing people in B2B. Like the top guys, like people that I enjoy consuming the content, like Chris Walker, these guys, like they're not doing anything out of this world. Like the production value is not crazy. Obviously the content is good, but like it's not something that you've never seen before. Put out great content, distribute it right, generate demand. Obviously there's a lot of nuance there, but it's not like they're doing these marketing campaigns that are like crazily creative or something that you've never seen before. So like the minimum bar, I think, is pretty low. right? If you know how to create good content, understand basics of paid ads, and know a little bit about the technical side of like Google campaigns and all that, like you're top 3% out there. So to me, there's a lack of B2B talent in marketing, in the marketing space.
Yeah, I mean, I just commented on Chris Walker's post like an hour ago, telling him that all that we are saying focused on consumers, don't go super nerdy AI, whatever.
Yeah,
those are basic things.
Right.
And I had this problem when I was creating posts because I thought it's basic, like everybody knows it, you know? And I was always trying to get a step up. And while I was on vacation, I figured out that I'm missing a lot of people in between.
Right.
You know, because what's basic for me, it's not basic for everybody else. And so I went in depth on some of those basic things, like what's inbound, importance of brand authenticity, brand fame for demand generation, those kind of things. And in a week, I got like 6 SQLs reaching out to me.
Right.
Calling me on the phone, sending me messages on LinkedIn, writing me directly in comments that send them the link to schedule a call or schedule a call directly on the website.
Yeah.
All of them SQLs, all of them with big deals on the table, and all of them not going to do a research about, you know, choosing between me and 3 other guys, just going directly to me.
Right.
And it's just content, as you said.
Yeah. So I do think, like I said, the bar is very low. If you do the basics right, you're doing much better than 95% of the companies out there. And regarding the fear, like I said, if there's a lot of stakeholders involved, right? Like if you're a Fortune 500 company, like we work with a Fortune 500 company in the States in fintech, and financial technology has a lot of regulations. They're a big company with a lot of stakeholders. Like they have investors, a lot of executives, a big board of directors. So I get that it's hard for a company like that to make a decisive campaign and like lean to one side or the other. I still think it's important, but I get it's just like it's a slow moving process. But for these smaller agencies that are like between 15 and 100 employees, that it's bootstrapped and you own 100, the CEO owns 100%. They have much larger space to do creative things in the marketing side of things for themselves. So their content, their personal brand, all can make a more decisive direction towards one way or the other. So I do think there's a big room for us as agency owners to improve. That kind of relates to something that I've been like we're going to start putting out next week with a different type of content for ourselves. But I definitely think there's room for us to create better marketing in B2B.
Yeah. Let's get to that comment about thought leadership.
Oh yeah. Do you remember?
That's an interesting topic.
Yeah. Can you remember? I remember mostly, but can you remind me of like the context?
Yeah, basically it was a post about what can you do to create thought leadership content.
Right.
And my comment was that it's all good, but not everybody is thought leader, and thought leadership content is not for everybody.
Okay. So give me your 2 cents on that. Give me
let me share with you something that I just saw today. Seems like I've been talking about thought leadership, so things are coming to me.
Yeah.
You need to allow me to share you.
Yeah, no, give me a second.
Yeah.
All right, you should be able to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This one was done by an interesting content by SurveyMonkey.
Yeah, that picture over there
This
is
one?
the most used picture I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Everybody uses that picture.
Okay, this is the thing I wanted to get into. So, who counts as a thought leader? They did a survey. A reliable number of people responded, and they said 68% said that thought leader is an expert in the field. 34% says it's an SEO. 32% said it's an analyst. 32% said authors. 28% public speakers, and 20% public figure or celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it kind of goes with how I'm seeing it, because everybody can post thought leadership content, but not everybody knows what he or she are posting about. Not that many people know how to implement on those things, how to actually perform, and that's where we are losing trust between the companies and the agency, between us marketers and between companies that are hiring us, because there are so many people who are now just copying other people's content, just reading articles and posting those kind of things, but have never get deep into implementing those things, never get into performing. And when you perform, when you know how things are going, you can actually predict it, and you can create the content on your own because you have been in the dirt, you have seen it in practice. And this is when you can call yourself an expert. As a CEO, you're not necessarily an expert. Also, as an analyst, you can see the data, but you are not an expert to how to read the data and implement it. As an author, I mean, you can write about it. Public speakers also can present results of the other and can compose it in a beautiful story. And public figure celebrities, basically, those are the people who are known for something.
Yeah.
So that's how I see it.
It's just charismatic or whatever it is.
Yeah. Basically, that's how it is. I don't want to go deeper because it has engagement, all kind of things. It's better if we talk about it, but just wanted to share on this specific point.
Yeah. Before we keep going, do you mind sending the link on the chat?
Yeah, for sure. Let me do it.
So just so I get what you mean, and to ask a few questions on that. So for you to create thought leadership content, you have to be a thought leader. To be a thought leader, you have to be an expert in your field. And to be an expert in your field, you need to be able to like implement and deliver what you say you would, what you talk about. Is that more or less the scheme?
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
My question here is like, who decides that? Like, who decides if you're actually an expert? Like what? Like it's really, I don't think there's a clear definition of what an expert is. Like I don't feel like an expert myself.
Yeah, expert is an ugly noun. So yeah.
I always say the goal is not to be a thought leader. Like I don't think the goal should be to be a thought leader. I don't think thought leader is something that you should aspire to.
Yeah.
I also don't think thought leader is something that they can give you. Right? Like I don't think there's a label or like a milestone that you're like from up here you're a thought leader or you're an expert in your field. Below you're not. I also don't think content needs to be limited to who's an expert and who is not. When I started creating content online, I was 19, 20, writing on Quora, talking about everything failures that I was doing in marketing. Like I started a basketball gear e-commerce, it fucking failed. I started selling soccer jerseys. That did pretty well, but I got a letter from a lawyer saying that the jerseys were fake, which they were. Like what else I was doing? I was doing a bunch of shit. I was buying things on Amazon, selling them on eBay, and everything was failing. And I was writing about it. And that was the start of like a lot of things that came in later. Like I would not be able to be running an agency if I was not creating content online. If we only limit content to thought leaders, we miss the documentation of the process. We miss everybody that's before, that's trying to get to be an expert in your field, and they're creating content to use that as a stepping stone up. Again, I personally don't feel like I'm an expert. I think that I know a few things, but if we only limit content to the people who think they're an expert, we're only going to hear from white guys in their that are 25-year-olds, because women are probably not going to want to create content because they don't usually feel as an expert, besides they usually are. A lot of minorities don't usually have that confidence given all their lives that they're an expert and that they're good and that they should be talking, right? So I think there should never be a limit or walls on who we allow to create content or who we call a thought leader or who we don't. I think the market decides if your content's good enough. I think the market decides if you have the credibility to back that up. But thought leadership content or content as a whole should be open to everybody. And I think that's where I was like differing a little bit from you, because I understand that we don't want like Tai Lopez
I totally agree with you, but I don't think what you're saying is the same. It's sharing your story.
Right.
We are calling everything now thought leadership. But what I want to say is not that. It's not limiting content. What I want to say is that people who aren't actually in the trenches, aren't actually doing the work, they're just creating the content out of nothing. You're trying to build one business, you're trying to do another one, you're sharing your experience. That's great. But there are people who are not doing anything, and it's the majority of them. And they are trying to sell you a story on that. And then you see some things. If you have been through that road, you are seeing something that are missing. You are seeing that they are just using words from another person. You are seeing that they cannot do it. I mean, look, there's an example here. I've been approached by 6 companies in the last 6 or 7 days. And so they know me just from LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. They have seen my profile sometimes, and I'm not cheap. Right. So my services are not cheap for this market. And so when I send them an offer, I have only one chance and one way to convince them that I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Besides actually talking with them.
Yeah.
It's how do I can see the implementation. So I'm sharing a video when I'm drawing actually what will happen. Right. How I see the demand generation, how I see which pieces of content fit where, how do I see the whole funnel, the strategy being implemented, and it's short, it's specific, it's precise, and it shows them that I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And this is where the gap is happening. I mean, everybody can share content. Everybody should share content. But to be able to differentiate who's actually is able to perform and implement it and not is still the gap. And I'm trying. I mean, uh, one thing that funky marketing is all about, it's call out all the bullshit and things that are not ethical. So I'm always getting into that point. I mean, we can always say while we until we have boobs, like shit will will suffer, you know, and that's not it. Let's try to help people if we can.
No, I agree with that. Like, obviously, like we don't want people that are fake, and we don't want people talking about shit that they don't know about. But I do think there's a certain degree that you can allow people to explore. Like sometimes I talk about things that I don't know and that I'm trying to go for, and I'm thinking out loud, like I'm thinking in public, right? And I always clarify.
This is one thing that's probably the best thing for growth.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I'm like asking for feedback, and I always, because I want to be radically honest and transparent with my content. I say it, right? Like I don't know about this, and I have more questions than answers. Like I remember a post I wrote about how to use the personal brand of their employees in big companies versus the personal brand of their CEO, right? And I said that I'm sure LinkedIn, but today I have more questions than answers, and I'm letting you guys explore that. So I do think you can push a little bit your content on what you know. I've not implemented 100 people company LinkedIn operation across all employees. But I do think that that's something that I want to do and that I can do. And so I wrote about it. So I do think there's a freedom a little bit on how you can expand, as long as you can always back it up in some sort of way. I remember I watched an interview. Like, I always relate stuff to other things, but like I watched an interview of Eminem, the rapper, talking about how he creates his songs, right? Like the stories behind his songs. And he says they're all based in some sort of truth. You can just like amplify it a little bit to make it more dramatic. So I do think the content has a leeway, but obviously, like I think it'd be dumb to think that people who have no idea should be creating thought leadership content.
Just don't pretend that you know something that you don't. It's okay that you assume about things, ask questions. I mean, that's how you grow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you think in public. You don't say like, I know these things, this is how it goes, if you don't. But right. You say, I think that things are going this way.
Yeah, intuitively, I think that this could be a good strategy, or I'd be interested in trying this new thing with this type of company. But yeah, I think obviously at the end of the day, the market kind of like decides who you are, right? Like if the market thinks that you're bullshitting, then they're not going to fuck with you. If the market thinks that you have shown proof that you can back things up, that they're going to allow you to support. But yeah, this is an interesting topic. I don't think there's a clear answer. For me, it was very clear that everybody should be creating content in some sort of way, but that content should be specific. And what makes the thought leadership content versus what doesn't, it's a very fine line, right? Because thought leadership content can be very personal as well.
And also one thing that you were also talking about that can reference to something that I was writing about this week is like brand fame. If you want to be like everybody else and not being authentic, then you can go and write what everybody else are writing for the same topics. And usually that's how it happens in thought leadership. You know, people are talking about the same things. But if you want to actually build a brand, be authentic, like you're doing that with comparison to sports, to basketball, giving some personal stuff in it. I'm doing it in a different way. A lot of other people are doing in. I saw, I don't know, let's say a lady who is obviously new to LinkedIn, but she's an executive in a company and she has a family. So she gives great examples of how business things are shown in a relationship inside the family. So those are specific things that can help you be different from everybody else. And when you are different, when you are changing narrative, changing the perspective, that's when people are seeing you as a leader and as somebody who is teaching them something.
Yeah, I call that pushing the conversation forward. I think, and I hate the word thought leader, but if I had to define what a thought leader does, is somebody who pushes the conversation forward in a certain industry or topic. Right? I think when, going back to Chris Walker, I think he pushed the conversation forward on B2B demand generation. I think he was one of the guys who did things a bit differently and proposed a few different ideas that moved us all in a direction, right? Like if you can move the back, then you're a thought leader or just a leader overall. If the content's a window, right? Like the topic is a window, and you can move the window up, and we're all moving up. Then you're changing the conversation. You're pushing it forward, and that's what we should all aspire to. Some of us are not there yet. Like I don't think I'm somebody who can push the conversation forward in the B2B demand generation. I think I can push it a little bit in personal branding for CEOs. So sometimes to push the conversation forward, that might be a different topic. You have to niche down a little bit because it's very hard to be the B2B salesperson that is a thought leader over everybody else. But it's easier to be the B2B salesperson for this type of organization at this size that helps them better. So I think niching down is the best way to kind of become a thought leader.
Yeah, and it's more clever and it's achievable.
You're gonna get there easily. Not easily, but easier than going for I want to be the guy known in sales. Right? Like we have a client who his company does mobile gaming, an agency in Miami, and it's very easy. It's very hard for him to be the guy in marketing, but it's easier to be the guy in mobile gaming marketing. So I think when you niche down a little bit, that's when good things start to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's what I'm seeing. That's what you are seeing. Going after personal branding for CEOs. I'm going after B2B, but I don't know. I'm still in between few niches. Still going up and down. I mean, now I'm moving into fintech. I didn't expect it, but it happened. So
yeah, sometimes the river leads you to places you didn't expect.
Yeah. I mean, and it's it's a whole entrepreneurship is a whole bumpy road. It's like playing a game again, and that's what I like it. I mean, I wrote you on Twitter Friday night actually. We got done by a client.
Yeah.
Just like that. We didn't have any conversation, anything. They say just we are moving in-house. We are hiring. They hire actually prior to that head of marketing.
Yeah.
And basically she wants her own team, and that's it. I mean, it's okay. Those kind of things happen.
Yeah.
But in the next 5 days, I got 6 SQLs knocking on my door. So that's kind of how it happens. That's the life, and you need to learn to love the changes.
Yeah. And this is what we've been talking about. Running a B2B company is not easy at all, and there's going to be a lot of there's a lot of highs and lows. I was talking this in the podcast, and it's hard to be. If you let the highs bring you up, then the lows are really hard. That's what happened to me at the beginning. I remember when I signed my first client, it looked like I won the Champions League. It looked like I scored minute 93 against Atletico de Madrid, a header to go overtime. I started crying. I remember my ex-girlfriend was in the room, and I started crying. 2 years, 3 years, 4 years later, you cannot let the highs take you so up, because then the lows come, and the lows always come, and they take you so fucking hard. The lows are even tougher than the highs. Yeah. Was this SQLs and how the content's been driving the update that you wanted to share? Because we talked on Twitter that there was an update
Yeah, because what I saw as that change happened that I mentioned
Yeah,
before, in the way that I'm creating content and how am I sending the message, I
yeah.
changed it and it still goes up. I mean, I went from let me tell you, 1,200 views on LinkedIn
Hmm.
up to 2,200 something in like 5 days.
Wow. Yeah, yeah,
That's how it went, and it's still going up.
yeah, yeah.
And what's more interesting to that, people, it happens that shift that we talked about, like when people start to see you as a leader and as somebody who is teaching them something. You know, people started to share content, to recommend other people. What I got from those SQLs, one was saying that they saw my content on Twitter. They weren't sure if we are actually connected on LinkedIn.
Right.
We are, but I have no idea who the guy is. I didn't know at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
And another one was somebody who is following me for a long time and just waiting for a chance to work on something.
Yeah.
The third one was a referral from my client at the time.
Yeah.
So it kind of grew from all different perspectives, but from the same point. Somebody saw my content on LinkedIn.
Yeah, yeah. It's what I was saying on that tweet the other day. Like, it's that's probably one of the things that for us we're the most proud of, being able to showcase that we are our best case study and that we walk the talk 100%. That we're doing what, because I hate when agencies like we are the best at paid marketing, and then they're sending you a cold email. Like what? Like you're the best at paid marketing, and to close clients, you're sending me a cold email? Or when they say we're the best at content, and then they're doing like paid marketing, they're sending you emails as well, or they're not getting clients. Like if you're the best at something, you should be able to use that or do what you say because it's the best proof. When I get on a client on a discovery call with a client that has found me through LinkedIn, and we're talking about LinkedIn services, and he asked me, "Does this work?" If it didn't work, you would not be here. You're the living proof that this works, and that's the best. I'm the worst salesman in the world. Like I'm a terrible salesman, but I can say that. Like I can say. I mean, you're here, aren't you? And that works. So for us, it's been great because these things like really give you credibility, and that's something that we're thinking about putting more on the website as well. Like we're basing our whole brand around that idea. But back to your point about the SQLs and the increasing views. Something we've seen for ourselves, for our clients, is that content and revenue growth as an agency, it happens often very like, I don't know how to say it in English, but like it goes real quick, then it stops, then it starts again, then it stops. Like a car that doesn't really know how to work. So you get like 2 weeks that you're closing like 4 or 5 clients, then you get 3 weeks nothing, then 2 weeks closing. Like so it's important to like not get nervous when nothing's closing, because you know that a good time is coming soon. Just have to wait it out.
Yeah, I mean, I had that patience when I started the company, and I have it. I have it also now. You know what's good? Well, it's good that this content that is attracting clients is also bringing in people who wants to work with me and Funky Marketing.
Right.
Like
you're getting 2 for 1.
But people who are like, I don't want to work for any agency or other bullshit company. I want to work with somebody who is passionate towards what he's doing. They've been following me for a while. They know my vision. They know how I operate. They know how do I comment everything.
Right.
Basically, just like somebody who is SQL is coming to you. Basically, they're coming, okay, we are here, let us in.
Right, but that's also important for recruiting. Like, it's not easy to find talent that understands what we're trying to do, and and your content, your personal brand is also so important to attract the right individuals. And solving as big as a problem as revenue. Like sometimes finding the right team is even more important than closing a few clients.
I don't know if you have seen, I've been following for a while, like there are a few companies that are doing great on LinkedIn. Besides Drift, Drift is like, they were the first one. G2 and Greavy also. I looked, I checked them out today. Like what all of them are doing. Their employees are active, proactive. They are liking, they are commenting, they are sharing posts with their personal perspectives. They are getting into hard conversations. And when you look at it, it seems easy.
Right.
But it's the hardest thing to do. It's finding the right people and giving them freedom to do the things that they are the best at.
Yeah, there's a company, we interviewed them for the podcast. I don't remember how to call it. I think it's called Fishnet Media. They produce B2B podcast as well. And they're a smaller version of that. They're 4 or 5 people. Feel free to listen to the episode. I think his CEO's named Michael, but don't call me on that. And they have structured a system where they help the employees create content. So basically what they're doing for the clients, they kind of do it for themselves. And they pick like 4 or 5 people in the team and doing that. I think that's special. I think that's the way to go eventually. Like making it very easy for your team to create content, and then making very easy for each member of the team to engage with each other. Right? Like there's a couple of options to do it. I've seen a few people do it well. But that's like a small engagement group. Like that's like having like 6-7 people who always comment, who drive their network. I think that's a way that companies should do it. It's easier at that scale of like 5 to 6 people, but when you're increasing it, that also makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's so important to look at that and to know who are you hiring and why are you hiring those people. Right. I see mistakes people make. Also, my agency that I work for made also those kind of mistakes. It's that hiring people to do specific jobs, like developer is somebody who's going to put the headphones on and just do his thing.
Yeah.
Like copywriters, there are all kinds of them. Some are just want to put also the headphones and dive into what they are doing. Others are more into chatting conversation, and some of them are active, some of them are not. But before you hire somebody, this person has to be active on social media if you want them to be active in the team too. If they are not active and you are trying to make them active while they are in the company, it won't happen.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard. I think, like you said, that's a very good point. They need to come with the mindset of this is important. And then you introduce the systems to help it, make it easy. But they need to know, like they need to be sold on that before they enter your play.
Exactly. We tried all kind of things. We gave them bonuses. Basically, those were the bonuses that me and the CEO earned. But we gave to all of them just to make them, more active.
Yeah.
All the team members had like what is it called? My mind is not working. When you sell somebody from the company and you get the percent.
A commission?
Commission, yeah. For the, online events that they are doing, that we were doing also for selling some of our services.
Yeah.
I mean, this is something that was in my contract. Like every client that I get from the company, I get 20% all the time while the client is with us.
Right.
And those are all kind of things that were with them. But let's look at the real situation. Like a developer won't share it, so he won't be interested in the commission because he knows that he's not sharing outside of the agency, outside of the work anywhere.
Yeah.
So he won't get anybody to click on the link, and to get him the commission. So you have to come up with different bonuses for those kind of people.
Right.
And all in all, you are going into one huge mess, and you just want to have engaged team.
Yeah, I don't even think money is the right answer there, to be honest.
No, definitely not.
Because the best teams that do it, they have fun doing. Like, I think that's the key differentiator. Like, they would do it for free. Like, they want to do it. They want to spend the time doing it. It's like if you, me, and then a few people more were like, all right, let's engage on everyone's posts. Like let's have a group and engage, right? Because we want to do it and we would engage anyway. We just want to have a system in place. Yeah. And when you're commenting, I'm adding my 2 cents, but not because I'm obligated to do that, but because I wanted to. And that makes the whole difference. But so creating a system has to be, like you said, choosing the right people in it is important. Actually, it has to be people that you believe in the long term. Obviously, they can leave and whatever, but if you're really helping somebody grow their brand, it's because you believe it, that they're going to be working with you for years.
Let me give you the solution to that for the end of today's conversation. So there are 2 things which are here important. First one is to know your vision of your company, your tagline, to know how you are fitting in the tagline, in the story, how people who are coming to the company see you fit in the tagline, how they see themselves fit in the tagline long term. Do they know what's next for them? How are they developing? And that's all connected to the culture of the company.
Yeah.
And one other thing is you need to market inside the company. You need to sell your products, your services to the people who are your employees first, so they can sell it to the other people outside of the company.
For sure.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, it's important. It's not easy to do. I think you'll appreciate the interview. I'll send it over after the call. That podcast interview, we touched on a few things. He might be a good person to follow. But yeah, man, I thought that this was a good call.
Let's put also that link in on the YouTube when we upload the episode.
Yeah. I'll do it as well. But yeah, I'm thinking about. Well, I'm starting a show that I think.
I saw it on Twitter. Tell me more.
Yeah, it's just something fun that I've been thinking about because, like I said at the beginning of the call, there's more creative space. I've just been feeling with the need to create something lately, like the last 3-4 months. At one point, I was like, dude, I have not. All I'm doing is like building the business, but not creating anything from scratch. So I've done a few things outside of work in music and stand-up that I think are going to be interesting, but just on a personal level. And then we're putting together this weekly show. We're going to start weekly. We'll see moving forward. Where it's going to be like something funnier that the content that I try to put out usually. So it's going to be video-based. The idea is to do like skits of like comedy. Is to do a recap of news. Just having a few different sections, like the worst LinkedIn pitches that I'm getting every single week, like presenting them and making fun of them.
There is one ex-colleague of mine, a great copywriter. He has a LinkedIn page called Demotivation in Serbia.
Yeah.
When he is actually mimicking all that's happening on LinkedIn and in business, like Gary Vee, all the other guys, it's hilarious.
Yeah, things like that. We just want to like make something fun. It's not even to like drive clients or like new business or whatever. We just want to like put out something that I don't think B2B does often. And like I was saying, small companies that are proprietorship of the CEO, we have more creative space and like we can do something funnier. And if I say something that a client doesn't like and they leave, who gives a fuck? Like,
let's go. We need the entertainment.
Yeah, I think there's a space there. I like a lot, like the few people that are doing funny stuff on B2B space. It probably won't be funny for the first 6 months. Like I'm gonna try to be funny, but it's probably not gonna work. But I think from a creative standpoint, it's gonna be a good experience, and being in front of the camera and all that. So yeah, we'll be fun. I'm gonna prepare the first episode today, record it tomorrow, put it out next week. But I also wanted to say it just out of like public accountability. So like next week it's not out, you can be like, Marti, what the fuck? Where's the show? So yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting. I'll let you know when it's up.
Cool. Looking forward to it.
Awesome, brother. It was good talking to you. I'll put this on the folder and all that. But let me know if you need anything during the week, and
let's go. I'm gonna have a guy doing us an intro, outro, those kind of things. Let's see how it looks like the next week when we upload it.
Yeah, that works. Awesome, man. I'm excited to see it.
Cool. Bye. Talk to you.
Take care, man.